of the rim. Got it! Oh, the slam! Oh, using Curry way downtown. Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Well, the play-in should have wrapped up by the time this video drops, although, as I've noticed, it doesn't really have much effect on what I'm about to say. These are the Western Conference predictions for the 2025 NBA playoffs. If you didn't see the East that came out a couple of days ago, go check it. While also checking out my partners over at DraftKings. NBA fans, we have seen some incredible action on the court as we head into the NBA postseason, which is looking like a banger. And with so many high stakes ahead, you won't want to miss out. Right now, you can get in on the action with my partners at DraftKings Pick6, a fresh, exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All new customers who play just $5 will get $50 in Pick6 credits to keep you in the game. Download the DraftKings Pick6 app now and sign up with code DOM2K to claim your offer. This is your shot to level up your NBA experience, only on DraftKings Pick6. Pick at least 2 players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, that's it. Will they score 20 or more points, have 10 or more rebounds, etc. Lock them in and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick6 app now and sign up with code DOM2K only at DraftKings Pick6. The crown is yours. Well, we are back with another round of Curry versus the Houston Rockets, and out of all the times it's happened, this might be the first or second most interesting in my opinion. Obviously, the Harden era with them trying to get over the hump, it never happened. Now Houston is here as a second seed, when I'll just say prematurely, as in none of us came into this season saying the Rockets are going to be second seed. The conversations were maybe they'll make the playoffs, maybe this is the year. Second seed firmly. Of course, this raises eyebrows going against a Golden State team who just, I guess you can kind of ignore seeds in the Western Conference. Yes, they're 7th. They could have easily finished 3rd. Also, if you look at their record since they acquired Jimmy Butler, yeah, even their total record does not speak for the Golden State team that has entered the playoffs. So how will the up-and-comers fare against a team that's had an established system for about 10 years now and still has some of that core pieces, or some of those core pieces? Well, we just saw Houston force Steph into one of his worst performances of the season. Amin Thompson had a lot to do with that. There was just a lot of bothering. A lot of his looks weren't clean, and then the ones that were, he wasn't hitting those either. Can Houston duplicate this or something close to it through the duration of a series? Honestly, probably not. Steph normally finds his way after any number of attempts, and even if the looks are tough, you know some of it is just not really up to the defense. It's not my main concern anyways. Really, my main concern is, can Houston make a lot of what they made work in the regular season, specifically on offense, work in the postseason? Coaching staffs come in, they look at weaknesses, they look at things they can exploit, lay them all out, and that's kind of how it goes for a playoff series. That's how 4 wins are attained. If I'm looking at Houston, well, off the bat, there are some combination of lineups. If I'm Golden State, I'm just going to zone up against. I'm going to make the shooters hit. Under no circumstances is Jalen Green just going to be allowed to make momentum plays, get downhill, not consistently. From Golden State, I'm taking that off the table. You see the screener coming, go ahead and show them 2 bodies sometimes, mix it up. I think for the course of a series, they'll be able to contain Jalen Green pretty well. And then it's like, all right, we know Thompson is going to find his way in transition. He knows how to move without the ball, create something out of nothing. And then I'm looking and going, will there be enough Şengün to pull 4 Houston Rocket wins out? This is where, once again, he gets the ball in the post. You know he's going to see an assortment of coverages. There'll be cutters, there'll be shooters. It's probably what Golden State is going to be nudging him towards, rather than having him consistently score efficiently in the post. And this is just on offense, but then defense. Once again, just saw a beautiful example of them making life tough for Steph. I still think Steph is going to be able to make life tough for Houston. Case in point, obviously you can't just go, oh, well, Şengün on defense, end of story. No, I'm sure he'll be hanging off of Dre, to which Dre is then going to escort the ball to a mobile Steph. It's kind of gonna force Şengün to be active. And then I'm going, can they stop the drives? Yeah, if you hadn't been watching Golden State Warrior basketball, their downhill juice, their free throw juice, it all came back with Jimmy Butler. We've kind of already seen him pick up his aggression as playoff basketball has arrived. No reason to think he's not going to be just as aggressive here. And so Houston does have the bodies. I think they've certainly got the guys to bother people on and off ball defensively. I just think it isn't going to stop the Warriors enough for them to do it 4 times. I believe Jimmy's going to be able to get to his spots. I believe they are going to force that issue with Sengun, especially because we knew the Rockets prefer him not to be tangled up on that end. And yeah, I hate to get to this part, but it also just kind of feels like a thing where I don't have as many questions about the Warriors in this setting because we've seen them there. Even the new member in Jimmy Butler, we've seen him in this time of year. If you've been following Houston, you've had questions about the half-court offense most of the season and how it would work in the context of the playoffs. I think they're going to force some bad games out of Steph. I think they're going to eke some out. I will officially be choosing the Golden State Warriors in 6. Yeah, I think a 7 seed is going to advance. Not really a 7 seed anyways. It's just difficult for me to look at what they've done over the course of the last few months and know what they've been capable of for years, how that system works. And I've got too many questions for the Rockets. Gonna be a fun series though. Steph versus Houston is always a time. Oh, and it is certainly always a time when we get Ant-Man in the playoffs. These are different circumstances than we thought, well, really for both teams. If we were looking at the type of combos we would have been having a year ago. Julius Randle now decorates the power forward position. It is not Karl Towns. And Luka Doncic is on the other side. Well, this series was very poorly represented throughout the regular season. I believe we only got 1 game with Luka. Even then, the Timberwolves were missing Rudy Gobert. I don't think they had Randle that game either. So in terms of how the basketball would actually look, yeah, it's one of the more confusing ones. We still know some things though, right? For instance, we know amongst, well, many other teams, yeah, the Lakers lineups can give Minnesota hell. It's going to be hard. We know Rudy has always struggled guarding the 3-point line. Small, quick lineups can really do damage to how much he's impacting a playoff game on that side. And especially with Doncic getting some of the driving juice back, that part alone, I don't really know what the Wolves are going to do with. It's not like they don't have bodies to try. They had a lot of those bodies last year, didn't work. I'd imagine in a lot of lineups, it's just not going to be hard for him to get downhill, not going to be hard for him to get into the mid-range area and draw some fouls, not going to be hard to create looks for others. So then that makes you wonder, okay, well, what's coach going to do with the lineup? Because it's not like you have to play Rudy out there. He doesn't have some mega impact on the offensive side of the ball to where you can't sit him. They've done it this season. They finished games without him. All right, well, this is always, once again, the catch-22. He does provide a future for your teams, and when he goes out, rim protection is going to get a little funny. Once again, the Lakers can play with a big and without. Even in the lineups where Hayes is in at the same time as Gobert, I'm foreseeing a good amount of lobs to Hayes. When it's totally spread and there's just shooters, I'm not sure Minnesota will be able to answer the advantages. The Lakers are just flat out going to be able to create. Trying to slow down Luka is going to open up shooters and or Austin Reeves. You've got the downfall of there being another one of the smartest players in history on the court with him at the same time. So there's a cutter. There's somebody who knows angles, knows where to be. And unfortunately, I just think for the Wolves to win, Ant would have to deal with being super overtasked. He's going to have to start driving more than he was in the regular season. He took a lot of threes. He even talked about it. Cool, good 3-point shooter. Probably not beating the Lakers from the perimeter alone. And then he's going to have to do a job on defense. He's one of the bodies that is going to be tasked with a LeBron or Luka at points in the game. He tried taking some of those challenges last year. Not sure why he wouldn't be up to it here. And so how will that affect the series he has offensively? And will this then be picked up by Julius Randle? Now, I can already hear a lot of people who haven't paid a lot of attention to the Wolves this year laughing. Do want to let you know, Randle improving his role with the Wolves actually is part of what led to them being a better team down the stretch. He's done good things for them. It obviously opens it up to where when Naz Reid needs to be on the floor, when you just do need those offensive pieces, you can go to it. I do absolutely have the question of Julius Randle in the playoff series though. Sorry. There is going to be opportunity for him to put his stamp on things. Lakers will play small sometimes. It's not like they're great with rim protection. They are very mobile though. And they scouting do know Randle can provide something there. I imagine his looks will still be difficult. It's not like he's just going to be playing bully ball with some smaller defender. And yeah, I still just have to see what he looks like at this time of year. Because I mean, it changes things quite a bit. You know, if you got Ant going and then you have Randle providing the best parts of his game, does make the conversation a little interesting. I would have to say based off of what I've seen for the 2020s now, I don't know if I count on it happening. And then, yeah, I'm just thinking about what Minnesota needs for 4 wins here. They would need to magically, from last year, have a way to stop Luka on a team I will say is probably better than what they had to face. Were the Mavs deeper? Yeah. Is this a team with a lot of shooters and LeBron James? Yeah. Whatever the case may be, don't think Minnesota can slow him down. Don't know what they're really going to do with LeBron in a secondary position, or what I assume to be would be secondary. Then they're also going to need Lakers shooters to really have a moderate series on top of everything else. We know there's going to be situations where there's got to be 2 to the ball for Luka. We know somebody's going to be open. Once again, modern defenses can't be everywhere. Yeah, I think too much would have to go right. I think the Lakers absolutely will have the answers. Think they'll neutralize Gobert's impact on this series. And with Randall politely being the wild card here, yeah, I'm going to have to go Lakers. I think the Wolves are competitive enough for sure to make this a 6-gamer. That's where I'll call it. I think it'll be 6. And one for the team who just fired their best coach in franchise history weeks before the playoffs. Yeah, we've got the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers, who might have surprised a lot of people when they seen Kawhi still playing basketball at a high level, despite a health report, which if you were putting money on it, you'd have just not even thought he was gonna be here at this point in the season, but he is. They've been kind of surging. The Nuggets, not so much. Okay, so we are at the section where something I've been discussing since December is about to come to fruition. Russell Westbrook ended this year shooting 32% from 3. We knew playing on the Nuggets he was gonna have to try to tee him up. It happened at a very, I'd say below average rate. And that's the first thing I'm kind of looking at for both teams. It's funny, I've watched teams guard Westbrook and Chris Dunn the same way this season at different points. Chris Dunn is a player for the Clippers that, especially at the end of games, sometimes you would see in the corner, see on the wing. Defenses are basically going, if we've lost to Chris Dunn, then we just lost. And it's important because he's one of their better defenders. He's a guy whose number you're probably going to see called if Murray starts getting off. This is another poorly represented series. Didn't even have Kawhi Leonard in any of the regular season matchups. That's a huge deal, especially right now. And I just don't really love the situation for Denver. I've been looking at them with a side eye for 5, 6, 7 months. The season at this point, I would say relative to where they needed it to be, kind of went poorly. I'm not super impressed by the roster or the depth. And I'm now going, all right, well, let's look at the advantage sheet. Obviously, Jokic presents the same problem for the Clippers as literally any team out there almost. Sure, you've got a big body in Zoo. Obviously, there's still going to only be so much he can do. Certain lineups, you're going to have to be showing him more than one body. Other guys in Denver are going to have to produce. What do you get from Jamal Murray? It's been a very on and off season for him. He's a wild card. His performance literally changes the complexion of an entire series. If we get here and all of a sudden he's turned up, well, now we're having different conversations. If it's consistently a 23 to 27 point per game Murray, he's doing it efficiently, sure. Once again, I still see life in this series being a little bit difficult for a lot of Nuggets not named Jokic. Clippers have multiple defenders. They can play small, and the Nuggets are going to have to extend themselves defensively. Harden did not age in dog years. He went out and played winning basketball. Here comes James putting your big in pick and roll. This is not the generic, oh, just put Jokic in PNR take that's been going, or was a thing really years ago. It's just the fact that in this series can and will still create an advantage. That's a great way to open up corner shooters, backdoor cutters. It's also a great way for Harden to just kind of control the flow of the offense and pick his spots. Does Denver have a body for him? Yeah, an acceptable one. And then there is Kawhi. Yeah, it's a Clippers wild card. Are we gonna get the thing where 2 years ago he made it to the playoffs and all of a sudden his knee was sore, we didn't see him again? We're gonna see him hindered? Or is it like the text he just sent Pat Bev about being happy to be healthy at this time of year? Because if he is actually healthy, well, now I'm looking at a Denver team who hasn't been great defensively and is gonna have to find methods to slow both Harden and Kawhi, coming from the perimeter, by the way. Especially if Leonard is really cooking from the mid-range. Man, I don't know how many options Denver will have. If you have to put 2 to him, that's unfortunate. You have to constantly help on Harden as the ball handler. That's unfortunate. They've got athleticism. They're great defensively, which is why I would really count on Kawhi having one of those really good series as opposed to Jamal. And yeah, if Denver is to win here, Jokic is, we know he can be amazing. He's just going to have to be amazing. He's going to have to force so much help. His shooters are going to have to be blazing. Jamal is going to have to be a legitimate number 2. And then Jokic's going to have to stay out of foul trouble. Once again, the support, the depth, it's not really there. I could see some situations where him picking up too early could change the entire complexion of a playoff game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like anything that's happened in Denver over the last couple of months. With the direction these two teams are headed, with what Denver has shown on defense, I would have to give the Clippers the edge. I'm way less worried about how they're going to consistently get to what they want for 4 wins than I am for Denver right now. So I've got to call it. This one I'll actually say in 7 though. We cannot discount what Jokic is, how he can elevate an offense, how he can take over in the binds that he can put a defense in. He is that type of player. So yes, super excited for it. I will take Los Angeles in 7, pending Kawhi having a healthy series. And honestly, I could have done this video not too long after the East, because doesn't matter who just won this play-in, it's the Thunder, man. The Grizzlies nor Dallas without Kyrie have what it takes to beat them 4 times. Even though Dallas did play him tough, not being healthy, I no. In a playoff setting, missing your ball handling creator, the Mavs are just, it's pretty much like a headless snake right now. You could see the makings of something there. Would have loved to see them go on a healthy run, I think, especially because of the storyline of how they got there. It'd have been fun. I don't know why OKC would lose this series based off firepower alone. I could see some of the games being competitive for longer than they were supposed to be. I just don't see it for them, and I don't see it for Memphis either. For one, we don't know at the time of this recording what Ja's ankle looks like. Even then, the offense hadn't really revolved around him this year anyways. It's been more Jaren Jackson centric. I like the improvement I've seen from him. I do not think a team led by Jaren Jackson is really slated to go very far, especially if they're just not 100%. Again, I think Ja has a level we have seen before. They ain't there right now. It's not how they're playing basketball. Jalen Wells is out. That hurts. Memphis would have to get a perfect series out of Jaren Jackson on both sides of the ball, and Desmond Bane, that thing he does where he gets on a heater. It would just have to be like that for most of their wins. I don't know. I believe OKC outclasses them both as we stand right now, so didn't want to dedicate too much time to it. If it's Dallas, give me OKC in 5. If it's Memphis, give me OKC in 5. All right, so these are my predictions for the first round. As usual, the playoffs progress. We'll do more of these. Let me know which series you agree with or disagree with and why. Also, hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops, while also hitting the like button and subscribing. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.